The doorbell rang at exactly 7:43 p.m. on a Tuesday, just as I was settling in with my first glass of wine since Mom's funeral. I wasn't expecting anyone. These days I rarely was. My name is Marin, and 3 months ago I buried my mother alone. When I opened the door, the universe's sixth sense of humor hit me like a slap to the face. There stood Lindsay, my baby sister, tanned and glowing, designer sunglasses perched on her head despite the darkness outside, and sporting what looked like a 5-month baby bump. "Surprise!" she squealed, as if she'd just popped over for coffee instead of materializing after a year of radio silence. Her massive suitcase thumped against my welcome mat. "You're pregnant," I said flatly, "and you cut your hair." She reached out to touch my shoulder-length bob, the result of not having time for anything longer while caring for a dying parent. I stepped back. "When did you get back?" "Yesterday. I was going to call, but—" She waved her hand dismissively. "You know how jet lag is. Anyway, I figured I'd stay here for a bit, just until I get sorted." The audacity knocked the wind out of me. Memories of the past year flashed through my mind. Mom's trembling hands as I helped her eat, the endless nights of monitoring her breathing, the stack of unpaid medical bills I'm still drowning in. "You missed the funeral," I said. Her smile faltered. "I know. I was in Thailand. The Wi-Fi was terrible, and by the time I got the messages—" She peered past me into the house. "Is that wine ice smell? God, I miss wine." I gripped the doorframe harder. "Did you even read any of my emails about how bad things got?" "Of course I did. Well, some of them. It was just, you know how Mom was. Always dramatic about her health. I figured you had it handled." She patted her belly. "Besides, I was going through some pretty intense personal growth." Personal growth. That's what she called abandoning our dying mother and leaving me to shoulder everything alone. I thought about the night I had to quit my editing job because Mom needed round-the-clock care. The morning I found her collapsed in the bathroom. The countless times I cried in hospital parking lots, checking my phone for messages that never came. "Family helps family," Lindsay chirped, shifting her weight. That's what Mom always said, right? Something inside me snapped. Not loudly, more like a quiet click, like a key turning in a lock. I thought about the box under my bed containing Mom's journals, the ones I hadn't been able to bring myself to read yet, the ones that might explain why she always favored Lindsay, even at the end. "You're right," I said, my voice eerily calm. "Family does help family." Relief flooded her face. She reached for her suitcase. "But there are going to be terms," I continued. "Conditions." She froze, that familiar pout forming on her lips. "Terms? Marin, I'm pregnant, and technically, half this house is mine anyway." "No," I cut her off. "It's not. Not anymore. But we can discuss that tomorrow. Tonight you can either agree to my terms, or you can drag that designer suitcase back to wherever you've been crashing." "You wouldn't turn away your pregnant sister," she said, but uncertainty crept into her voice. I smiled, thinking about all those nights I'd begged her to come home, to help, to just call Mom one last time. "Try me." She stared at me for a long moment, probably searching for the pushover big sister she'd left behind. But that Marin died somewhere between changing Mom's bedpans and planning her funeral alone. "Fine," she huffed, like a teenager being grounded. "What are your precious terms?" I stepped aside to let her in. "Let's discuss it over that wine you can't drink. Welcome home, sis." As I closed the door behind her, I caught my reflection in the hallway mirror. I looked exactly like Mom did in her stronger moments, straight-backed, clear-eyed, and done with taking shit from anyone, especially family. Lindsay dropped her suitcase in the middle of the living room and flopped onto the couch like she owned it. "So what are these conditions? Nothing too crazy, right?" I walked to the kitchen to fetch another wine glass, one I wouldn't be filling. "Oh, don't worry," I called back. "They're perfectly reasonable, as long as you're reasonable too." But we both knew Lindsay had never been reasonable a day in her life, and for the first time since Mom died, I was actually looking forward to tomorrow. You want me to what? Lindsay stared at the printed document I'd placed in front of her the next morning, coffee growing cold beside it. Sign it, I said, sliding a pen across the kitchen table. It's all very straightforward. Chore schedule, financial contributions, house rules, basic roommate stuff. She skimmed the paper, her perfectly manicured nail tracing each line. Mandatory grief counseling? Job hunting requirements? This isn't a lease, Marin. It's a prison sentence. You have 30 days to find employment, I continued, ignoring her dramatics. Any income goes toward household expenses and preparing for the baby. No overnight guests without prior approval. Weekly check-ins to discuss progress. I'm pregnant. Who's going to hire me? Being pregnant isn't a disability. Plenty of women work while expecting. I took a sip of my coffee. You have skills, don't you? All that personal growth must have taught you something. The kitchen clock ticked loudly in the silence that followed. Outside, a neighbor's dog barked. And the counseling? She asked quietly. Non-negotiable. You missed Mom's entire decline and death. That needs to be addressed professionally. My phone buzzed. Charlotte's name flashed on the screen. How's it going with Hurricane Lindsay? I'd call her back later. Charlotte had been warning me about the fine line between justice and revenge since I'd told her my plan last night. Lindsay pushed the paper away. This is insane. I'm your sister, not some tenant you found on Craigslist. Exactly. You're my sister who abandoned our dying mother and disappeared for a year. I pushed the paper back. Sisters don't do that. Tenants at least give notice. I needed to find myself. And did you? Between the full moon parties and yoga retreats, did you find yourself while Mom was losing her ability to feed herself? Tears welled in her eyes. The pregnancy hormones were going to make this interesting. I can't believe you're being so cold, she whispered. Cold, I laughed, but there was no humor in it. Cold is getting a text message that says, can't make it back, sending good vibes, when Mom was admitted to hospice. She flinched. I said I was sorry. No, actually, you haven't. I stood up and walked to the coffee maker, needing something to do with my hands. But you will sign the agreement or find somewhere else to stay. Where am I supposed to go? That sounds like a question you should have asked yourself before buying a one-way ticket to Bali. She picked up the pen, hand trembling slightly. What happens if I break these rules? 3 strikes and you're out. I'll help you find a women's shelter. You wouldn't? Try me. The pen scratched against paper as she signed, her usual flowing signature now sharp and angry. There, happy now? I took the agreement and made a copy with my phone. Ecstatic. Your room is ready upstairs, the one next to Mom's old office. She paled slightly. Can I have my old room? That's my home office now. I need it for work. You know, that thing that pays bills? She grabbed her coffee and stood up, one hand protectively over her belly. You've changed, Marin. Yes, I said simply. I have. After she stormed upstairs, I finally called Charlotte back. You're enjoying this too much, Charlotte said after I filled her in. Revenge isn't going to heal what happened. This isn't revenge, I replied, walking to my office and unlocking the bottom drawer. It's accountability. Same thing, different font. I pulled out Mom's old wooden box, the one I'd found while cleaning out her room. Inside were her journals, medical documents, and an envelope I hadn't opened yet. She needs to learn, I said, running my fingers over Mom's handwriting on the envelope. Actions have consequences. And what about your actions? What are the consequences for you? Upstairs, something crashed, followed by Lindsay's muffled cursing. I can handle the consequences, I said, finally breaking the seal on the envelope. I've been handling everything else. Just be careful, Charlotte sighed. Don't let this consume you. I unfolded the paper inside, a draft of Mom's will, dated just weeks before her death. My eyes widened as I scanned the contents. I have to go, I told Charlotte, still staring at the document. Marin? I'll call you later. I hung up and read the will again, my hands shaking slightly. Mom had changed everything, the house, the savings, her entire estate. And Lindsay had no idea. Upstairs, the shower started running. My sister was settling in, probably already planning how to wait out my ridiculous rules until she got her inheritance. I carefully returned the will to its envelope, smiling slightly. Sometimes karma needed a little help, and I was more than happy to assist. "Look what I found!" Lindsay's voice rang through the house, interrupting my work. She burst into my office, waving an old photograph. "Remember this? My 5th grade graduation?" I glanced at the photo, Mom beaming proudly at Lindsay, who was holding a participation certificate for the school play. I was half cut out of the frame, despite having won the Academic Achievement Award that same day. "I was working," I said, turning back to my laptop. "You're always working." She perched on my desk, ignoring my scowl. "I had 3 interviews this week, by the way, following your precious rules." "Really? Which companies?" She faltered. "Oh, marketing firms, creative stuff." "Names, Lindsay." God, what is this, an interrogation? She slid off the desk. "I'm trying, okay? Show me the confirmation emails." They were phone interviews. 3 phone interviews and not a single follow-up email? I closed my laptop. "Want to try that again?" She huffed, hand automatically going to her growing belly, her new favorite defensive gesture. "Fine. I had 1 interview. The others, I got nervous." That's strike 1. "What? You can't be serious." Lying about job interviews? That's literally breaking the first rule of our agreement. I pulled out the document from my desk. Right here, under honesty and transparency. "I'm not one of your editing projects you can mark up in red pen, Marin. No, you're my adult sister who needs to grow up before that baby arrives." She grabbed the photo off my desk. "I don't know what happened to you. Mom would be so disappointed." "Don't." I stood up. "Don't you dare talk about what Mom would think." "She loved me," Lindsay's voice cracked. "She understood me. She never made me feel like a failure. No, she just made you feel entitled to everything while teaching you nothing." Lindsay stormed out, slamming the door hard enough to rattle the frames on the wall. One fell, glass cracking. A photo of Mom and Lindsay at her high school graduation. I'd taken that picture right before rushing off to work 2 jobs to help pay for Lindsay's college fund. My phone buzzed with a text from Savannah. "Got those documents you asked about. Coffee tomorrow?" I hadn't seen my ex since before Mom got sick, but as a lawyer, she had access to resources I needed. That evening, I found Lindsay in the kitchen, aggressively chopping vegetables. "I applied for 3 jobs online," she announced without looking up. "Real ones. I can show you the confirmations." "Good." I started making tea. "The counseling center called. Your first appointment is Thursday." The chopping stopped. "I've been thinking about that. Therapy's really expensive, and since I don't have a job yet..." "It's covered. Mom's insurance had a mental health provision that extends to dependents, which you still are, technically." "Oh?" She resumed chopping, slower now. You really thought of everything, didn't you?" "Someone had to." She dumped the vegetables into a pot. "I found Mom's letter, the one she wrote you." My hand froze on the kettle. "You went through my things?" "It was sticking out of that box in your room." "My dearest Marin, I know I wasn't always fair." She mimicked Mom's voice. "Quite the apology. Did it make you feel better, finally being the favorite?" I stepped closer, voice low. "That letter was private. Like Mom's medical records were private, but you shared those with everyone, didn't you? Made sure the whole family knew I wasn't here. You weren't here because you chose not to be." "I was scared!" She slammed the knife down. "Is that what you want to hear? I was terrified of watching her die." "And I wasn't? You think I wanted to do it alone?" Tears streamed down her face. "You've always been stronger than me. Everyone knows that." Strength isn't a get-out-of-jail-free card, Lindsay. It's not an excuse. No, but apparently it's a weapon. She wiped her eyes. Congratulations, sis. You're really wielding it well. She left the kitchen, leaving the half-prepared meal on the counter. I finished making my tea, adding honey the way Mom used to when we were sick or sad. My phone buzzed again. Savannah. Found something interesting in your mom's legal files. You might want to sit down for this one. I stared at the message, thinking about the unopened letter in Mom's box, about karma and consequences and the weight of truth. Upstairs, I could hear Lindsay crying. Not her usual dramatic sobs, but the quiet, broken kind that used to make Mom drop everything to comfort her. I didn't move. Some lessons had to be learned the hard way. Instead, I texted Savannah back. I'll be there, and I'm ready for whatever you found. But even as I typed the words, I wondered if anyone was ever really ready for their world to change. Savannah hadn't changed much in 2 years. Same sharp blazer, same knowing smile as she slid a folder across the coffee shop table. Your mother was quite thorough, she said. Changed her will 3 times in her final month. I opened the folder. And the final version? Makes you sole beneficiary, house, savings, everything. She stirred her latte. Lindsay isn't mentioned once. Jesus, I scanned the documents. Why didn't you tell me this at the funeral? Because your mother also left specific instructions. The will isn't to be executed until certain conditions are met. She pulled out another paper. Including something about an audio message? My coffee went cold as Savannah explained the details. By the time I got home, my head was spinning. Lindsay was in the living room, laptop open. I actually have interviews today, she announced. 2 of them, real ones. That's great, I said, distracted. Listen, and I went to therapy yesterday. She says I'm showing remarkable insight into my avoidance patterns. She smiled proudly. See, I'm following your rules. Lindsay, though I've been thinking about the financial contribution part, once I start working, maybe we could adjust the percentage. With the baby coming. Mom changed her will. The room went silent. Lindsay's hand moved to her belly, a gesture I was starting to hate. What do you mean, changed it? She left everything to me. Lindsay laughed, but it sounded wrong. That's not possible. Mom would never. She did, 3 days before she died. You're lying. She stood up, laptop falling to the floor. You did something, manipulated her when she was sick. Like you manipulated her bank account? Her face went white. What? I pulled out my phone, opened an email. Wire transfer attempt, denied, March 15th, while you were in Bali, using Mom's account details. That's not, I was just trying to fund your spiritual journey while I was maxing out credit cards for her medication. She sank back onto the couch. It didn't even go through. Because I'd already taken over her finances. You know, when she couldn't remember her own PIN anymore? You had no right. I had every right, my voice echoed through the room. I was here. I was her medical proxy, her power of attorney, her fucking nurse. She loved me more, Lindsay screamed back. She always loved me more. Then why didn't you read her last email? That stopped her. What email? I pulled up another message on my phone, handed it to her. From Mom's account, sent 3 days before she died. Subject line, please come home. Lindsay's hands shook as she read. I didn't see this. Because you blocked her email address. I found it in her sent folder. She tried to reach you 6 times that week. No. She threw the phone at me. You're making this up. This is just another power play. There's an audio message, too, I cut in. Mom recorded it before she died, but we have to listen to it together. I don't want to hear it. That's not your choice anymore, just like it wasn't your choice to abandon her. She stood up again, pacing. You think you're so perfect? Saint Marin, the dutiful daughter? You have no idea what it was like for me, always living in your shadow. Shadow? I laughed. Mom gave you everything: college money, cars, bail when you got caught shoplifting. She enabled every bad decision you ever made. Because she understood me. No, because she pitied you. And now you're doing exactly what she feared, trying to coast through life on someone else's dime. Lindsay grabbed her purse. I don't have to listen to this. Actually, you do, unless you want me to press charges for the attempted wire fraud. She froze at the door. You wouldn't. Try me. The documentation's already with my lawyer. She turned, tears streaming down her face. What happened to you? I grew up, and now it's your turn. I picked up her laptop, held it out. You have those interviews today, right? Better get ready. I hate you, she whispered, snatching the laptop. I know, but at least I can look in the mirror without flinching. After she stormed upstairs, I pulled out Mom's final email again, the one Lindsay never read, the one where Mom finally saw through her favorite daughter's manipulations. My phone buzzed. Charlotte, how's Operation Tough Love going? I typed back. It's not love anymore, but it is justice. Upstairs, something shattered, followed by Lindsay's sobs. Once upon a time, I would have rushed up to comfort her. But that Marin died in a hospital room 3 months ago, holding our mother's hand alone. I opened my laptop instead, pulling up the audio file Savannah had sent. Mom's last message, waiting like a time bomb. Soon, I thought. Very soon. Savannah set up her laptop on the dining room table, the same table where Mom used to make us Sunday dinners. Lindsay sat as far from me as possible, eyes red and puffy. Before I play this, Savannah said, your mother wanted me to read something first. She pulled out a paper. My dearest daughters, if you're hearing this, it means you're finally in the same room again. I'm sorry it took my death to make that happen. Lindsay made a choking sound. What I'm about to say will hurt both of you, but truth always hurts before it heals. Savannah looked up. Ready? I nodded. Lindsay stared at her hands. The recording started and Mom's voice filled the room, weak but clear. Marin, my rock, my firstborn. I failed you so many times, pushed you so hard to be strong that I forgot to let you be vulnerable. Every time you achieved something amazing, I just expected more. While Lindsay... A painful pause. Lindsay, my baby? I cushioned every fall, fixed every mistake, until you never learned to catch yourself. I thought I was protecting you, but I was crippling you, making you dependent on my love instead of teaching you to love yourself. Turn it off, Lindsay whispered. No, I said. I'm dying now, Mom's voice continued, and I see everything so clearly. Marin, you're not just strong, you're extraordinary. You've carried this family's burdens without complaint, even when I didn't deserve your sacrifice. Tears rolled down my cheeks. And Lindsay, if you're hearing this, it means you chose to come back after it was far too late. I enabled your escape because I couldn't bear to see you hurt. But in doing so, I hurt your sister deeply. I hurt our family. Lindsay stood up abruptly, but Savannah blocked her path. Sit down, I said. You owe her this much. The house and everything in it goes to Marin, Mom continued. Not because I love her more, but because she earned it. With every sleepless night, every missed opportunity, every moment she chose duty over freedom. This isn't fair, Lindsay sobbed. Life isn't fair. Mom's voice grew stronger. But consequences are. Lindsay, you need to grow up. Find your own path, not the easy one I always cleared for you. And Marin, my brave girl, learn to forgive. Not for Lindsay's sake, but for your own. Static filled the air as the recording ended. Savannah quietly packed up her laptop. I'll email you both copies, she said. There's more legal documentation to go through, but... She was sick, Lindsay interrupted. She wasn't thinking clearly. Actually, Savannah pulled out another document. Her doctor certified her mental competency the day she recorded this. It's all legal. Get out, Lindsay's voice shook. Both of you, get out. This is my house, I reminded her. Legally, officially my house. She crumpled into the chair, real tears now, not her usual theatrical ones. I'm sorry, she whispered. I'm so sorry. Sorry doesn't pay bills, I said. Sorry doesn't erase the nights I spent alone in hospital rooms. I know, but sorry doesn't bring back the last chance you had to say goodbye. Savannah touched my arm. I'll see myself out. Call if you need anything. After she left, Lindsay and I sat in silence, Mom's words hanging between us like smoke. What do you want from me? Lindsay finally asked. I want you to feel what I felt every single day you were gone. I do feel it. I feel it every time you look at me like I'm nothing. You made yourself nothing, I said. Every choice, every escape, every time you chose yourself over family. She pressed her hands against her belly. I'm trying to change. For the baby. No, I stood up. Change for yourself. That's what Mom wanted. That's what I want. And if I do, if I really change? I thought about Mom's words about forgiveness, about the weight of carrying anger for so long. Then maybe, I said slowly, we can talk about rebuilding, but not until you prove it. How? Figure it out yourself. That's what growing up means. She nodded, wiping her eyes. Can I have a copy of that recording? Savannah will send it. I walked to the door. Listen to it every day if you have to, until you understand what Mom was trying to say. Where are you going? For a walk. I need to think. I paused at the door. Don't try to access any accounts while I'm gone. I've frozen everything. I wouldn't. Yes, you would. That's why we're here. I left her there, surrounded by the echoes of Mom's last words. Outside, the air was crisp with autumn, Mom's favorite season. She'd loved watching things change. My phone buzzed with a text from Charlotte. You okay? No, I typed back, but maybe that's the point. The bank statement landed on the kitchen table with a soft thud. Lindsay stared at it, then at me, her face draining of color. Want to explain this? I asked, pointing to a series of attempted transfers from Mom's account. Not just one, but 6 separate attempts over 3 months. I can explain. Really? Because it looks like you tried to steal from our dying mother. Multiple times. She gripped her coffee mug tighter. I needed the money. The hostels were getting expensive, and my credit cards were maxed out. So you thought you'd just help yourself to Mom's savings while I was drowning in her medical bills? You don't understand. I was stuck in Malaysia and... Stuck? I laughed. You had a return ticket. I found the confirmation email in Mom's account. You chose not to use it. The mug slipped from her hands, shattering on the floor. Coffee spread across the tiles like a dark stain. I'm calling Savannah, I said, pulling out my phone. She'll know what fraud charges. No! Lindsay grabbed my arm. Please, you can't. I'm pregnant, Marin. I can't go to jail. Should have thought about that before committing felony fraud. It wasn't fraud. I was going to pay it back. With what money? Your trust fund that doesn't exist anymore? She sank into a chair, carefully avoiding the broken ceramic. What do you want from me? The truth. For once in your life, just tell the truth. Tears welled up in her eyes. I was scared, okay? Not just of Mom dying, but of everything. The responsibility, the guilt. It was easier to run. And steal. I'm sorry. How many times do I have to say it? Until you mean it. I pulled up Savannah's number. Until you understand what sorry actually means. What about the baby? Her hand went to her stomach. Your niece or nephew? Don't. I stepped back. Don't you dare use that child as a shield. I have nothing left, Marin. No money, no home. Because you threw it all away. Every chance, every opportunity, every person who tried to help you. A knock at the door cut me off. Through the window, I saw a familiar figure, tall, carrying a camera bag. Arthur, Lindsay whispered, going pale. I opened the door to find her baby's father looking travel-worn and confused. "Hey," he said, "I got your email about Lindsay staying here." Lindsay tried to run upstairs, but I blocked her path. "Perfect timing," I said. "We were just discussing consequences." "Don't," she pleaded. "Don't what? Tell him about the fraud? Or about how you're not actually 6 months pregnant?" Arthur's eyes widened. "What?" "Show him your medical records, Lindsay, the ones that prove you're barely 4 months along. When were you in Barcelona, Arthur? 5 months ago?" "6," he said quietly. We weren't exclusive then." Lindsay crumpled against the wall. "I can explain, like you explained the wire transfers." I turned to Arthur. "She tried to steal from our dying mother, multiple times." "Jesus, Lindsay." He ran a hand through his hair. "Is anything about you real?" "I needed help," she screamed. "Both of you act so perfect, so righteous." "No," I cut her off. "We act like adults. There's a difference." Arthur set down his bag. "I came here to do the right thing, to support you and the baby. But now you know who she really is," I finished. "Join the club." Lindsay slid down the wall to the floor, sobbing. Not her usual calculated tears, but raw, ugly crying. "I'll call my lawyer," Arthur said. "About a paternity test when it's safe to do one." "Good idea." I handed him Savannah's card. "She has all the documentation about the fraud, too, just in case." He nodded, looking at Lindsay one last time before walking out. The door clicked shut behind him with a finality that seemed to break something in my sister. "Are you happy now?" she choked out. "You've taken everything." "No, Lindsay, you lost everything, all by yourself." "I hate you," she whispered. "I hate what you've become." I knelt beside her, close enough to smell her expensive perfume, probably bought with stolen money. "I became what you made me, what Mom made me, the responsible one, the strong one, the one who cleans up everyone else's messes." "Then clean up this one," she begged. "Help me fix this." "No." I stood up. "You're going to fix it yourself, starting with paying back every cent you tried to steal." "How?" "Figure it out. That's what growing up means, remember?" I left her there, surrounded by broken ceramic and spilled coffee, and went to my office. Through the wall, I could hear her crying, the same way Mom used to cry when she thought no one could hear. But this time, I didn't go back to comfort her. Some messes needed to stay broken before they could be rebuilt. Arthur stayed in the guest room for 3 days, going through old photos and messages with Lindsay on his laptop. I found him in the kitchen that morning, looking grim. "She lied about everything," he said, pushing his phone across the counter. "Look at the dates on these messages. She was seeing 3 other guys while we were together." I glanced at the screen. "Are you surprised?" "No, just," he sighed, "disappointed in myself mostly, for believing her." Footsteps on the stairs announced Lindsay's arrival. She froze when she saw us together. "Morning, Linz," Arthur said coldly. "Want to explain these messages?" She glanced at his phone, then at me. "You're ganging up on me now?" "Nobody needs to gang up on you," I said. "Your lies do all the work themselves." "I never lied about the baby being yours," she told Arthur. "No? Then why did you tell me you were 6 months along when we met in Paris last month?" He pulled up another message. "But then told Marcus you were 5 months along, and told James—" "Stop!" She gripped the doorframe. "Fine. I don't know who the father is. Happy now?" The silence that followed was deafening. "I'm calling my lawyer," Arthur said, standing up. "And I'm filing a police report about the harassment messages you sent my sister." Lindsay's face went white. "You can't watch me." He gathered his things. "Thanks for letting me stay, Marin. Good luck with all this." After he left, Lindsay rounded on me. "This is your fault. You turned him against me." "You did that yourself, just like you did with Mom." "Stop bringing her up." "Why? Because it reminds you of what you did? Or what you didn't do?" She grabbed a mug from the counter and hurled it at the wall. It shattered, adding to the growing collection of broken things in the house. "I'm done," she screamed. "Done with your rules, your judgment, your perfect little power trip." "You're right," I said calmly. "You are done. Pack your bags." That stopped her. "What?" "3 strikes, remember? Lying about the pregnancy timeline, harassing Arthur's family, and now property destruction. You're out." "You can't kick me out. I'm pregnant." "Yes, you've made that very clear, though whose baby it is seems to be a moving target." She stepped closer, voice dropping. "If you do this, I'll tell everyone what really happened the night Mom died." My blood ran cold. "What are you talking about? You think I don't know? About the morphine dose? About how you helped her along?" I grabbed her arm hard. "Don't you dare! Don't you fucking dare!" "Let go of me!" she yanked away. "I'll tell everyone how you murdered her." "I made her comfortable," I hissed. "On her request, with her doctor's approval. Where were you? Oh, right, ignoring her calls in some Bangkok hostel." "I'll still tell." "Tell who? The police?" "Great idea. Let's get them involved. I'm sure they'd love to hear about the fraud, the identity theft, the forged prescriptions." "You're bluffing." I pulled out my phone, showed her the folder of evidence I'd been building. "Try me." She stared at the screen, then at me. "I don't even know who you are anymore." "I'm exactly who I've always been. You just never bothered to look." "So that's it? You're really throwing me out?" "Yes, but because I'm still better than you, I've arranged a place." I handed her a brochure. "Women's Shelter in Portland. They have a program for pregnant mothers, 3 months maximum stay." She crumpled the paper. "I won't go." "Then I'll call the police. Your choice." "I have nothing," she whispered. "No money, no job, no—" "You have exactly what you earned, just like Mom said." Tears streamed down her face. "Are you happy now? Does this make you feel powerful?" "No." I stepped back. "It makes me feel tired. You have 1 hour to pack. A taxi's already booked." She stared at me for a long moment, perhaps searching for the sister who used to clean up her messes. But that person was gone, buried alongside Mom. "I'll never forgive you for this," she said. "I know, but I forgave myself a long time ago." She turned and ran upstairs. I listened to her footsteps, her sobs, the sound of drawers being yanked open. My phone buzzed. Charlotte. "Did you do it?" "Yes," I typed back. "It's done." "And how does it feel?" I looked around the kitchen, at the broken mug, the crumpled brochure, the ghost of Mom's disappointment hanging in the air. "It feels," I wrote, "like finally being free." Upstairs, Lindsay slammed another drawer. Soon she'd be gone, taking her chaos with her, and I'd be left with the silence I'd fought so hard to earn. It wasn't happiness, but maybe it was justice. And for now, that was enough. The nursery still smelled of fresh paint. I stood in the doorway, staring at the empty crib Charlotte had helped me assemble. Lindsay's baby girl, my niece, was due any day now. My phone buzzed with a text from the shelter coordinator. "Lindsay completed another parenting class today. That's 12 weeks straight." I set the phone down without replying. On my desk lay Mom's final letter, the one I'd never opened, the one Savannah had given me yesterday. The envelope was worn from being carried around, edges soft from countless moments of almost opening it. The doorbell rang. Charlotte stood outside with coffee and a concerned expression. "You're brooding again," she said, pushing past me. "I'm thinking." "Same thing." She handed me a cup. "The shelter called me. Lindsay's doing well, actually trying." "I know." "She asked about you." I took a sip of coffee. "Did she ask about Mom's letter too?" "No, she asked if you were okay." The nursery door creaked in the draft. I'd painted it yellow, neutral, safe, just in case. "You should read it," Charlotte said, nodding at the envelope. "Whatever Mom wrote, you need to hear it." "I'm not ready." "Yes, you are. That's what scares you." I broke the seal carefully, unfolded the paper inside. Mom's handwriting was shaky but clear. My dearest Marin, by the time you read this, you'll have done what I never could, held someone accountable, made them face consequences. I failed at that with Lindsay, and in doing so, I failed you both. But revenge and justice aren't the same thing, my brave girl. One heals, the other hardens. Don't let my mistakes make you bitter. Don't let my failures become your armor. I'm leaving you everything because you earned it. But the hardest thing you'll ever earn is forgiveness, both giving and receiving it. Your sister will need you again someday. When that day comes, remember that strength isn't just about standing firm. Sometimes it's about knowing when to soften. I love you both, differently but completely. Mom. Charlotte touched my arm. You okay? I folded the letter carefully. Call the shelter. Marin? Please, just call them. She made the call, spoke quietly, then handed me the phone. Hello? Lindsay's voice was small, tired. The nursery's ready, I said. If you want it. Silence stretched between us, filled with a year's worth of pain and pride. I can't pay rent, she finally said. I only make minimum wage at the diner. I know, but you're working. That's what matters. I'm different now, her voice cracked. I know you don't believe me, but I believe the shelter coordinator and your boss, who calls you reliable, and the counselor who says you haven't missed a session. Oh, there are still rules, I said, non-negotiable ones. I know, I understand now what that means. I looked at Mom's letter, at her words about softening. The baby needs her aunt. Lindsay started crying, quiet tears, not the dramatic sobs of before. I need my sister. I know. I touched the yellow walls. Come home. Just like that? No, not just like that. We have years of work ahead of us. But I thought of Mom, of strength and softening. We can start. After we hung up, Charlotte hugged me. You sure about this? No. I showed her Mom's letter. But she was. And the revenge, the justice? Maybe they're the same thing sometimes. Maybe they're neither. Charlotte smiled. Now you sound like your mother? Yeah. I looked around the nursery, at the crib, the changing table, the rocking chair where Mom used to sit. Maybe that's not so bad. My phone buzzed again, Lindsay sending a scan of her latest parenting certificate. It wasn't forgiveness, not yet, but it was something like hope. I texted back, Good job. The crib's waiting. Then I put Mom's letter in the baby book I'd started, right next to the sonogram picture Lindsay had sent last week. Someday my niece would read it and understand where she came from, not just the mistakes, but the healing too. The nursery door still creaked, but I didn't fix it. Some things needed to make noise to remind you they were changing. I picked up my coffee, now cold, and drank it anyway. Outside, autumn was turning to winter, Mom's favorite transition. She loved watching things change. Finally, so did I.